the things we're going to have a look at today, because we're taking this 300Tdi to bits, is something that we've never done. This is the Bosch starter motor for a 300Tdi, 200Tdi, naturally aspirated, oh no, turbo diesel, that's it. They were quite common. They're all sort of interchangeable. Now, what we're going to do is do a quick test on this to see if it works, but we're also going to strip it down because I've realised there's no books or anything like that on this starter. There is for the other one, for the Lucas type of starter, but not for this one. So how does it work? Well, we all know that there's a little lug on the back of here. I'm a bit sort of restricted because the cable's a bit tight, but there's a lug on the back of there. Now, say this is a power coming from your key. You put it on. This battery isn't top notch, by the way. So what happens is, if we can see, I don't know if we're going to see this. We can turn it like that, maybe, not get electrocuted. Oh. Yeah, this battery's shot. I'll charge another one up for later. But did you see how when I touch this, it simultaneously turns and engages? But what's to stop it banging into the teeth of the flywheel? Well, what you can't see at the other side, there is another terminal coming out of the solenoid, right? So there's a wire. We'll look at it in a middle. Let's see if I can touch it. See what happens? As the solenoid, that's going through the solenoid wires, so the solenoid wiring can actually turn the starter before it engages. It's kind of tricky to explain, but there is a resistance going through there. I just don't know how we could show you positively, but believe me, it does work. Anyway, let's just have a pause for a minute, and we'll take all this lot off, and then we'll get round to taking this apart. Right then, we've established that the starter works, so why not just put it on? Well, seeing we're here, we might as well have a look inside it. One of the worst things with these starters is getting these screws out of here. There's 3 little Phillips screws that's got to come out. We'll come on to that in a minute, but first of all, what we're going to do is somehow try and get the connector wire off the back of here. We'll see if it will. It should do. It should be a 13mm. There we go. Is it? Ooh, right. And now I've had this in the parts washer, so it's sort of spewing out liquid. This is damn tricky to get into, and there's not much space on there. Just let me get a hammer. A bit messy, so I don't know what to expect. I had it draining all morning because I knew I was going to be doing this. There we go. I'm using my little dinky ratchet because I don't want to break any bolts off. So we'll take that off, get him out of the way. So we know the starter works. Got my nut jammed in now. There we go. We'll put that back on there. There are some tests for solenoids and things like this, but we've established it does work. Now, let's get down to this daddy. Getting these screws out of here. What's some hot tips? I'm just going to use an impact to try and get them out. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to tap it in first into the screw hole, as you may be able to see, because they are a bucket and they sometimes round out and the thread's here, so warming them up isn't really an option. Oh, pretty good. Let's try that with this one. You can feel it sort of going in. If you try and round them off with a screwdriver, the next option is to drill out the heads and then buy some new bolts, screws, or whatever you call it. But the action of hitting it with the hammer will stretch the threads a little bit. It'll give it a fighting chance. And we're off. So that's good. So now we should be able to take this solenoid off. Oh, the rubbery thing there has split. that might be our fault because we put it in the parts washer. I'm not really sure, but well, I can always get another gator, I suppose. Maybe not. I don't know. Oh yeah, it's stuck inside there. Yeah. Oh no, that's well stuck onto there. I bet you it comes as a unit. It's all just fallen to bits anyway. Yeah, I bet it comes as a unit. Fear not, I might have a spare one. Let's clear off here. So now we can probably see what happens to the solenoid. The starter at the moment's flicked out, but at rest it's like that. So all that there is a pivot in here, and it pivots that little plastic lever. Not much to it, is there? Right, next thing. Do we take off the covers or do we take off the screws? I think we take off the screws first because I think there's some clips under there. Now, before we do that, let's have a look. Are they screws? Are they rivets? There seems to be something in the middle of those. I'm not sure. But tell you what, I'm not sure what these are. If you can probably see there, they look like the Phillips, but it looks like there's something in them. Is it some sort of a security device? Oh, it might be penned. Indeed, it's penned. That was confusing. If you can see one I've taken out and that one there, it just looks like it's a security type thing. We can get past security. Don't worry about that. Can't see. It's very difficult to watch the camera and watch this at the same time without banging your fingers. There we go. These little impacts are great because it's just not like a drill where it develops just a bit of load of torque and whacks it out. It actually does an impact type of job. So we can see inside there, it's a wee bit greasy. We've got a horseshoe collar, which we'll put back into there. And then we've got a flat washer. What else have we got in here? Nothing. Now that shaft is allowed to move. So now we'll take off these bolts here, which should be 10mm. Which are not. Is that a 10 or 11? That's a 10. Could be 8. Oh. Seems to be 9. First time I've used a 9. Probably bloody last time, I know. Oh, I see. It's just a big long... It's a big long stud with a stud on the end to put it onto ground. We have to remember that that one went between the two bolts here. You see the 2 bolt holes? I don't. Not sure if it matters all that much. I thought we might as well have a look at this, and we've also got the alternator down here as well. So I think we'll, instead of sending it down to the shop to get repaired, which are now starting to charge me a little bit more than we used to do, we'll have a look and see ourselves. Right, does that cap come off? Or does this look... Oh, there you go. That lot comes out. Now, let's have a look at this bit first, because this looks like a bit more engineering type stuff, which I'll explain. And it's full of poo. At least soaking it overnight's done something. It's loosened it all off. Probably like your bowels. Now, we need to get that piece out of there. How is it going to come out? Oh, I see. Ta-da! Look at the muck in here. This is one of those very clever Bosch starter packs. You know, brush pack, should I say, not a starter pack. And the wires. Oh, I see. The wires are soldered onto here. Now, what's the brushes like and what's the commutator like? Well, we don't know. But this seems to be kind of an easy repair because there is just one solder joint here. So that means instead of messing about taking the brushes out and things like this, we should be able to unsolder that, take this unit off and strip it down and have a look. Oof, how simple as that. That's really easy, isn't it? Oh, I've got my camera. Right, how does that come off there? How does that come off? I can't see any solder on it, that's the funniest thing. I bet you it's electrically spot welded on. Now, this calls into question, do I take it apart? No, why not? Got nothing to lose, have we? Well, the armature's dirty, but it's not the end of the world. What's it like in the bush? Pretty darn good. Oh, the brushes are good. Look at that. They're really nice. Oh, that's even better view. Look at that. So maybe there's no need to do that. Maybe I can get these brushes back in without doing that. If I had a tube to go over the end of that, that would make life a lot easier. I could just put them in and put it on. I don't think there's much wrong with that. That looks really, really nice. So we'll clean that up in a minute. With all our rest of our stuff, we'll try not to touch. We'll try not to touch that hot soldering iron. Let's have a look at this bit here. Alright. So we've got a sun and planet arrangement so that the gear here turns the starter drive. So it's like a reduction gearbox, so you can see how many times. See these little balance marks here, and watch the teeth. So it's reduction. So this turns more than the gear. See what I mean? Sun and planet. You've got a stator on the outside. You've got your planets on the wheel here, and then you've got your gear here. That'd be the sun probably. Not exactly page 3. But anyway. So now we want to see what's in here. How do we get that out? How does that come off? There we go. We can get to our rubbery bit, but I think this piece comes out. I should really grab myself a screwdriver, shouldn't I? Right, back again. This section should lift out, and indeed it does. Does it lift out complete with all this gubbins here? Indeed it does. Look at that. Now there's your clutch. So there's like a little preset clutch thing in there, which is kind of important. So if your engine does catch and this sticks, it doesn't turn the motor backwards. So there we go. That's all there is to it, really. No wonder they charge you a lot of money for them. This should just... Does that lift off? No, that's fixed onto there, but it will come off. There's a little hog ring type affair in there, so I bet you if you knock that in, there'll be a circlip in there. But really, for our all intents and purposes, do we really need to take that apart? Because we can see inside here, the drive gear's good, everything's good. I think the whole thing just needs just a bit of a wash and a brush up. Well, I'll tell you what, let's see what it's like after a wash and brush up, and then we'll come back.